Hello guys, I'm Minoaz from Archangel 2.4.3 Feenix realm, and I'd like to welcome you to my first video of the series on the subject of tanking. Now, a couple of things before we kick off. This is in no way a showcase of ultra elite skill or e-pin material. Your views and ideas on the subject that I'm going to be examining might be different. I'm simply sharing my personal experience, and I'm not trying to enforce any absolute best way to do things. Now, I've been on this server ever since its first version, and nearly after 9 months of tier 4 content, I'm depleted to see well-geared paladins, druids and warriors struggling to understand what their role is about and how to make the most out of the characters in particular situations. Whether it's heroic content or charism, these people pin down pugs, create havoc and ultimately cause incomplete and lengthy instances. The goal of these series of videos that I'm going to be producing is to give a generic overview of as many instances as possible, with tips and tricks to turn the least experienced tanks into relentless mob-chewing machines. Now, I will be using this warrior tank toon for the purpose of the video and talk a little bit more in depth about warriors and solo tanking instances, like for example charism. Right, so the first thing that warrior has to be aware of are his important cooldowns. Knowing their importance, their utility and their situational benefits is the key to know when and how to use them most efficiently. I've gone ahead and separated the abilities in 3 categories. First, we're going to take a look at the major cooldowns. We've got Shield Wall, we've got Last Stand and Challenging Shout. Shield Wall is without a doubt the best defensive cooldown that you can benefit off, and should certainly be used as a last resort in salvageable situations. I'm going to be explaining what that means later. The problem is, of course, the long cooldown, and thus it's necessary to know if we're going to be needing it later on a nearby boss. If yes, then we'd rather save it for a latter purpose. If not, make sure that the use of this ability will help the group survive. There is no point using it if you're certain that you will wipe whatever the outcome, so just save it for the boss. Challenging Shout is a great cooldown when tanking more than 4 mobs, and should be used if there is a loss of threat to multiple party or raid members. Nothing really much to say about that, just another short cooldown. Last Stand is my favourite of the enlisted cooldowns, as it's frequently usable and can buy you extra survival time to allow for spell mutes or inaccessible heals. Now, the next set of cooldowns are short span, quickly reusable abilities that allow control, threat recovery and damage reduction. Taunt is the most emblematic and probably the most reliable cooldown to regain aggro. I'll be explaining more about that further on. Concussion Blow is extremely useful for AoE tanking as warrior, specifically for relieving threat pressure or stopping incoming damage when your taunt is on cooldown. Trinkets are also very useful, especially ones that give you dodge or avoidance, especially Moreau's Pocket Watch. If used effectively, the avoidance jump can help reduce incoming damage and, more importantly, reduce the chance of being hit by some crucial boss or mob abilities that would incapacitate you. You will see more details later. Improved Revenge is the absolute bomb for tanking heroics and Kara. The stun proc is quite high, and it allows you to keep control over multiple ads, and I will be explaining that one as well later on. Note that on the video I'm main tank spec, so I don't really have it spec, but it's absolutely crucial for it, so yeah, go ahead and spec it. Now, for some reason it is commonly accepted that warriors cannot tank multiple mobs, at least on this server. And this false conception is perpetrated in pugs, to the point that new warriors tend to listen to that and basically incorporate it in the thought process and not even try or even bother to tank more than 2 or 3 mobs. And when they try to, they perform horribly, and then they end up blaming either the healer or the DPS. So, an important thing to understand about warriors is that unlike druids or paladins, we don't possess any bleeds or dots that will do the work for us. Every single point of threat is produced by abilities that we do and damage that we deal. So if you're building threat on 1 or 2 mobs and don't touch the others at all, you will lose them to healers. If you don't return and take care of them, you will end up running around like a pizza delivery boy trying to gather the pack. What ensues from this reasoning is tap targeting galore. Target prioritization and effective control of what you're tanking. What that means is that you'll have to spread your cooldowns to however many mobs you're tanking to make sure that you will remain the sole person to be targeted. Now, as we jump straight to this video footage, you will notice that I have solicited the other members of the group that I am solo tanking. Now, an important part about tanking an instance is setting the pace, and as a warrior you will find that it's very crucial to keep the speed up. I have seen numerous carras where the runs take hours and hours, and with like a lot of time that has been wasted. Now, the important thing about picking up multiple mobs is to control them and make sure that the DPS do not DPS different targets. Now, normally I would be marking up, but I'm not really a fan of wasting time because I do find that it's not necessary. You can control them if the DPS have a minimum of brain. And as you can notice on this instance, the DPSs do not have any brain. In fact, the Resto Druid that you will be seeing on this footage makes sure that I consistently have 3 stacks of life bloom every time I pull, even though I've told him not to do that a lot of times. So you will be seeing him die a lot. So let's jump into the actual abilities. Now, as you can see, I do end up marking this up. So we will hopefully see what's happening on the next one. You see here, I click off the life bloom stack, body pull this one, yeah, I know, right? Stun this, and then spam cleave. As you can see, cleave is spammed, and I change targets all the time. Now, I do notice the aggro has, the rogue has the aggro, so I am using the cooldown efficiently to pick it up, and keep continuing the spam cleave. Now, cleave spam is very important when you have 2 mobs. When you have a third one that is added into the mix, make sure you use your concussion blow for that. It's extremely useful to have one target stunned while you cleave the others. And you see here, boom, pick up. With that intervene, you have to be ready for it. As DPS, as you can see, DPS the non-skull target, which is pretty nice. Now, on the next pull, I do click off the life blooms are pretty late. Thunderclap there just for directional purposes, just to pick them up. And I noticed that the rogue has aggro again, so what I do is I just maintain the cleave spam and keep producing threat over to the mobs that have aggro. Now, I am going to end up using taunt, but it gets resisted, and mark them up nicely. Another taunt there, pick it up. And you notice the druid going feral for some reason. He doesn't have aggro. So yes, the clue about doing more than 2 mob tanking is to remain, to basically spam the cleave, spam the fucking cleave, and make sure you use your cooldowns like shield slam, shield block, and revenge. Basically, at the same time that you're spamming cleave, you must make sure to use all these 3 abilities at the same time, while keeping an eye out for the other mobs, because you may need to use a concussion blow, you may need to use a taunt. It's very important for you to be aware of your cooldowns and aware of what you have to do and what's happening with threat. Now here, I click off the buffs, as you can see again. These hots are fucking me over. I kid you not, this instance has been horrible for me, but we'll carry on. As you see, here I open with a cleave. I always keep cleave charged, like I keep spamming it while approaching the mobs. As soon as you approach the mobs, you will have a cleave going off, so you know you will have aggro on these 2, and then you keep it following up with a shield slam. Shield slam is very, very important. It should be on top of your list right there, because as soon as you get a cleave off, or if you want to initiate on 1 mob, then shield slam will be your weapon of choice. It deals the most threat, and also will guarantee that you can then later change target for something else. Now, as you can see, we do take this down, and the next pull is the tricky one because it contains quite a lot of mobs. Now, the druid persists on life blooming me. I click it off again. It's very annoying. Now, for this one, I do mark up because I really don't want them to fail. Tuck behind the wall there to make sure that they clap on me. Now, life bloom goes off, as you can see. Haven't thunderclap yet. Thunderclap just for directional purposes, just to get the direction going, just to get the mobs targeting me. Now, as you can see, I create a little death ball around me, because the more movement you have, the less you'll be able to concentrate on your task. There you go, I blow concussion blow there to make sure the skull is stunned while I build threat on the others. Tap targeting, as you can see, very, very crucial. And keep the cleave spam all the time. and then a shield slam goes off there. That's how you do it. So yeah, another aggro right there from a very indisciplined mage, extremely indisciplined mage, of the many indisciplined DPSs. But I mean, that's the purpose of the video. Show how you can make it work, even though you have extremely indisciplined DPS. You will find that in most groups, if you mark up 2 mobs, like with a skull and a cross, people will naturally understand what is the target and what you have to be aiming for, so they won't fuck up your rotation. Now, 1 mob tanking is pretty simple. Open up with a shield slam. Now you see I did get stunned there, but that shield slam instantly got me aggro back, so it's something that I do recommend for all the warrior tanks out there. Shield slam, extremely important. Opener with that is a guaranteed aggro. Now, as you can see, the speed has been quite good. We've been like 10 minutes in, and we're going pretty strong. Yeah, and I do notice there that the log has wisdom instead of salvation, so that's a pretty nice group, as you can see. But whatever. Now, I don't want to spend any more time here. I keep chain pulling. I'm not going to wait for a lot more than the mana thingy. I start off here with building Sunders and make sure to keep my shield slam up. Now, as you can see, this mist streak is just killing me. And Attunement spawns didn't have enough time to get it off, but hopefully the cleave picked it up. Now, what you do in this type of situation, you need to prioritize. Your cleave will do enough damage to keep aggro on the other one, but you need to make sure that you produce enough threat on the actual skull targets. The big problem with this is that you get the debuff, makes you miss, increases your chance to miss, which can be annoying in most of the cases. And most of the alerted druids and mages will dispel it, but decurse it. But in this case, of course, with this extremely nice group, as you can see, I'm competing for DPS with a rogue, so I don't think it's going to be happening. Right, so as we reach the end of Midnight's HP, I know by this point that he will be dying soon, and boom, instantly shield slam, as you can see, to get a nice chunk of threat on him as it resets threat. Keep building it up, and pretty much bring it to the ground. Now, during this time, I would like to talk about warriors and Thunderclap a bit. I see a lot of people, a lot of warriors on this realm, whether it's on heroics or Kara groups, relying on Thunderclap alone to do the job. Thunderclap has this particularity of not dealing a lot of threat. It does about 150 to 200 damage, I think, and if I'm not mistaken, and the threat output of it is completely, I need to stress that, completely trivial if your group is already ongoing, because ongoing heals will grab aggro off it. One Thunderclap is not enough to counteract the effect of 1,000 or 2,000 here. It will inevitably go to the healers. So, as I said before, Thunderclap is only for directional purposes, and what I mean by direction is that once you pull a pack, that you will be seeing that later on. Once you pull a pack with more than 3-4 mobs, that does require you to have aggro at the start. You pop Thunderclap, and with Thunderclap you will have a very minimal sort of threat to rely on, so that you can get a bit of damage, get in that rage, and that you can basically feed your cleave spam and your other abilities. Other than that, Thunderclap should not be relied on. Like, people chaining Thunderclap is a no-go. It's not going to work. You're not going to get any threat whatsoever, and the threat that you're going to get is very volatile. So as soon as a healer starts chunking them heals on you, or a DPS starts doing AoE, then you will most likely lose it. So you need to be aware of that. Okay, click off the life bloom stack again. As you can see, I don't even fucking wait for loot. I get ready just to see a couple of people on. Mark a skull there, and get ready for the pull. Now watch this. What happens here is pretty fun. I'm getting ready for this. I'm getting stunned, and I've got life blooms on me again, so I'm forced to intervene. I pop all my AoE cooldowns, and at the same time we have the mage dropping a flame strike I eventually turn off and try and keep composure. As you can see, it's extremely difficult when you've got undisciplined DPS. Skull is being kited, I'm not too worried about it. As you can see, as long as it has some travel time and it's not touching the people, then no problem. Now note that I'm changing target constantly, just using literally one CGD. A very important thing about targeting is that you cannot waste CGDs. Every cooldown, every cooldown that you have has to be used wisely. So basically, you use one shield slam on one mob, one devastate on the other, one taunt, one of each basically, while keeping your cleave spam on. As you can see here, it's pretty evident that aggro is not me. Pop a thunderclap there, just for the lols, while the others kill. Right, so we're going to jump straight into some Minoaz footage. Now, as you can see, I have marked Skull on Baroness, and I'm pulling with a shield slam. We're hopefully going to have Shackle on Star. There I noticed that my Warlock has threat, so I intervene on him and pick it up. And I start cleave spamming. As you can see, Skull does not really need a tank since she keeps basically spamming abilities like need to be interrupted. So you can just let that to the DPSs. My task now is to just keep threat on all those three. Unfortunately, with all the stuns and all the disarms, I'm not able to maintain my regular rotation. Their Shadow Priest picks aggro, turn it off as soon as possible and keep it up. As you can see, normally I do have an assigned paladin or a priest to dispel me on these stuns. Very, very crucial having a dispel on the stuns to build your threat. But unfortunately we don't have this here, so I'll have to make do. Keep cleave spamming. Basically make sure to keep threat on all of them. As I take down a circle. Always keep an eye out for the shackle target. You never know when it's going to be released, so keep your eyes out for that. There goes Minoaz, and there goes my disarm. It's so annoying. Disarm is such an annoying ability, and I really, really hate it. You can't continue your threat. So Minoaz pops back up again. Keep going on him, and that's pretty much it about Minoaz. There's not a lot more to say about him. So we're just going to go ahead and jump to the next footage. The next footage is from pretty much the next level. What we have here is a run-of-the-mill pool of these ads. The important thing is to have the elites marked up. One thing that I see warriors doing in these situations is not marking anything up and just running in and hoping, clinging on for dear life, hoping to get threat. So what you do here is you mark up the elites and make sure you maintain threat on all the marked mobs. Now as you can see here, I pulled 3 marked, so I start with a shield slam, with a concussion blow, then shield slam, top target, taunt, shield slam, and pretty much keep the rotation up to maintain aggro. As you can see, there is very, very little focus on the DPS. People will split up, so I will need to step it up between the 2 mobs that are being damaged. There it is, there comes the shield slam again, and keep the cleave spam, very important. And there they go down. Now, the most important thing is the next pool we're going to have with non-elites. The particularity of the non-elites are that they don't really swing very hard, and they have relatively low HP compared to these guys, like 10 to 9k compared to 66 or 50 something k. So what we're going to do here is, for the next pool, I have marked up all the elites, as you can see, and I will keep my target on the elite. Now watch what happens. Initiate the pool with a gun and get ready. Blood Rage, shield slam, thunderclap to pick up the aggro, then instantly try to get the target on circle, then swap back to diamond, then swap back to a thunderclap. We have 1 running there, back to circle. Your task will be to keep these ads down and do some relative thunderclaps when you can. As you can see, the threat is not a real issue on these 2 since you have pulled it, and the actual phantom ghosts, or whatever they call the little guys, if you have a warlock or other AoE DPSs, they wouldn't not survive that long. it will be a waste for you to go out of your way to do it, like to pick them up. Next footage is from Opera event, arguably one of the most difficult out of the 3 to tank for a warrior. Now there will be a lot of fuck ups here because DPSs just do whatever they want, like you have the mage DPSing the strawman, but hopefully we'll be able to see a couple of little tips and tricks. Yeah, waiting patiently for the opening of the portal. So one thing you need to know is that most of the people will be DPSing Dorothy first, so make sure to get a skull up on her and to try and get some initial threat on it. Just be careful and see how exactly I'm pulling this. I initiate with a thunderclap, turn them away from rage, shield slam on Dorothy, use my taunt on the other one. Now I stun the strawman and I start spamming cleave. Now as you can see, the mage is already DPSing the strawman and we have Sam aggro on Dorothy. I intervened there and picked it up. Mage continues onto the strawman. We have also raw aggro, but we have that fear, which is pretty good. Mage keeps continuing on strawman. Here I lose aggro to the lock again, who doesn't have self. Now I'm desperately trying to pick up aggro from all these people DPSing different mobs. Dorothy is aggro. Taunt again. As you can see, she's about to die. And I do have threat pretty much on me. We see Tito spawning there. I build a bit of threat on strawman and intervene onto the druid, taunt it back, and I'll be getting a shield slam on it very soon. Where is it? Come on. Yeah, there it is. So keep spreading that, keep spreading that. As you can see, I have my screen turned towards raw, so I keep track of what's happening with this fear. So this is pretty much it for this week's video. I apologize if I went a bit lengthy and I've repeated myself a lot of times, or if I did not show exactly what I was intending to show on some of the occasions. I will be making future videos about other instances, so please comment or leave some impression of what you would like to see for the next week. Possibly more bosses in Kara, like Nightbane or something else. I don't know. Whatever you guys want. Or if you want a heroic, just let me know. Now, the important things that we need to split out and to retain from this video is our number 1 priorities and our enemies when AoE tanking or generally tanking as a warrior. So let's head over to the enemies first. Our number 1 enemy when we're doing AoE tanking is Pre-Holly. As you saw in this video, I was pretty jarred up against that Resto Druid. It's very important that you click off, or you tell your druids and your priest not to heal you up, not to hot you up before you initiate a pull, as it can completely fuck up your pickup. You will get no rage, you'll have to intervene, you'll have to blow some cooldown, so it's just not worth it. And as a warrior tank, you should have some sort of resistance, some sort of resilience to getting one shot anyway, so you should be able to hold on at least 3 or 4 seconds without receiving any hots. So make sure you stress on that. Your second enemy will be indisciplined DPS, and especially indisciplined range DPS, because range DPS will create a whole lot of problems for you and pick up aggro, and you will have to break the death ball, pretty much the circle around you that you keep your mobs around you, and break that to go intervene, pick it up and go back again. That's something that will be happening quite often, so be ready for it. Now let's head over to your number 1 priorities. Your number 1 priority is to keep cleave on cooldown when you are tanking more than 2 mobs. Very, very important. Cleave does not share TGD with the other abilities, so it will not trigger the 1.5 second waiting time for the other abilities. So you need to keep that always spammed. Always spam when you're tanking more than 2 mobs. When you're tanking 1 mob, it is the Rogue Strike. It is the alternative for one target. And during that time, make sure to spread your threat out. Basically, just shield slam, revenge, and devastate, and then get some concussion blows off that can relieve some of the pressure, as you saw in the video. So that's pretty much it for this week, guys, and I hope to see you soon.